This is Robert Demers for Conman here at the New York Comic Con, and I'm here with Adam Hughes. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great.
How's the convention been treating you so far? I saw that you had a huge line this morning.
You know, it's so overwhelming at this show. I've always referred to New York Comic Con as just a gray San Diego. It's as crazy as San Diego Comic Con, just you know, not as many palm trees.
Yeah,
but it's overwhelming. There's tons of people here, and they're all here to say hi and do business.
What was about illustrating comics that first got you interested and made you decide that you want to be a part of that?
I don't really know, because I don't really remember a time when I wanted to do something else. I mean, I did when I was a small child in the 70s want to be an astronaut, but then we stopped going to the moon and I rapidly lost interest. No, I've always I don't even say want. I can't say I've always wanted to do this. I've always known that I was going to do it, probably because that's the only thing I'm good at.
Were there any artists that inspired your own work?
Constantly. I mean, artists that inspired me when I was a kid, and artists that inspire me now when I'm having a hard time, you know, getting the creative juices flowing, and it's like, oh, what am I going to do? And I go to the altar of my favorite artists and I worship there. You know, when I was a kid, it was you know, John Byrne, George Perez, Jack Kirby, you know, just so many guys I can't even remember. And you know, nowadays, you know, anything by Mike Mignola just rejuvenates me. It just makes me want to just get down and draw comics again. You know, so it's my inspirations are vast and across the board, and they grow and they change.
What kind of processes do you go through when drawing either a book or a cover?
You know, it's like, you know, this the typical artistic 7 stages. You know, anger, denial, you know, acceptance, bartering. I don't have a set process, so it's kind of hard for me to describe my process. I do whatever best facilitates getting the job done, and sometimes I'll just work until I'm tired and go to bed and wake up when I'm done sleeping and then get back to drawing. You know, I've never been able to work with a real schedule. I've never been conducive to that sort of discipline. So I just kind of go with each job. And if I sit there and I work on one job and I'm going, hey, this job requires process number 2, I'll use process number 2, which might involve, you know, doing a ton of sketching and talking with the editors, or, you know, process number 7, which involves me locking myself in a room and not talking to anybody until the artwork's done. It's all about getting the job done.
You've done some fantastic cover art over the course of your career. What would you say is the key when creating a eye-catching cover?
I think the key when creating an eye-catching cover is focus. You know, like, you don't just want to just draw and hope something turns out. You need to pick what you want to get across and what you want the viewer to look at first. Because, you know, doing a cover, whether it's for comics or whether it's for magazines or the case of a video game, whatever, it's all about grabbing the attention of the potential buyer. 9 times out of 10, the people who are looking at your product, your comic, your Blu-ray, whatever, may not have heard of it. And it's your job as the cover artist to draw them in, to say, hey, come over here and ignore everything else around me and look at me first. So it's I think the job, you know, I've always felt that the main job of a cover artist, especially in comics, is we're the last line in advertising and the first line in storytelling. We actually hand the baton over from the advertising department, and we pass it to the guys who've done the interior work, the men and women who do the inside of the comic. Once I have somebody holding a comic book in their hand and they're starting to flip through it, wondering if they want to buy it, I punch out. I'm done. I've gotten people that far. That's what the cover's job is to do. And from there on, the guys who've done the inside will have it's their job to entice the person either by snippets of the story or bits and pieces of the art to get the viewer to come in. But, you know, cover artists we're advertisers as well as storytellers.
You've made quite a few designs for DC statues. I have a Harley Quinn one myself. What is it like to see your art that you've made into a three-dimensional form?
You know, it's always very interesting. At first, it blew my mind, and then after a while, once it becomes something that you're used to, once something becomes commonplace, then you become, you know, your base instincts kick in, and my base instincts are hypercriticality. I'm always like, oh, we could have done this, or oh, I should have thought of that. And you know, I was thinking the other day about what it's like when a young comic book artist sees his or her work published for the first time. You know, you hand in the assignment, you're waiting for that first time where you walk in and go, I have been published. I'm so used to being published at this point that I've sort of lost all the wonder, and now when something comes out, I go, oh, that printed weird, or oh my goodness, I forgot to draw Batman's other leg. Oh, okay, you know, whatever. You know, I just don't look at it as a unique or special thing anymore. It's just now part of the process. And the other day, I was looking at one of the statues that I designed that somebody brought by to sign, and I did have that weird moment where the clouds parted, and I looked at it and said, oh, that's really weird. That is my artwork. And I had that feeling of when it first came out of going, yeah, it's pretty weird to have, and you know, and the weird thing about the statues is it's you being interpreted by another artist. Your two-dimensional designs are being interpreted by a sculptor and probably a different painter. And you know, it's more of a collaboration than a straight, here's what I drew and here it is on the stands.
What are you working on currently?
Currently, I'm still the cover artist for Vertigo Comics' Fairest, the Fables spinoff. I think issue 20 or 21 is about to come out. I love that job. I'm going to stick with it as long as they'll have me. I'm working on a 8-page Batman black and white story. And I'm going to be doing some Star Wars covers for Dark Horse, I think. So, and then you know, we'll see where 2014 takes me.
Well, sounds like there's a lot of art that we can look forward to.
I hope so. I have a mortgage now. I hope there's a lot of art for people to look forward to.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the con, along with plenty more long lines.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great time here at New York Comic Con.